rapid fire round for you. Today we are going to do the 3 months of RBI notifications and the RBI press releases, and this is going to be the rapid fire round for you where you have to give the answers very fast. Just consider that you have limited time to answer the questions. Okay, so like in the examination you will have the limited time, so consider that, and we will be going a little faster with the questions. So we have already done the revision of the January 2024 RBI notifications press releases, February 2024 and the March 2024 RBI notifications and the press releases. Now I have brought for you a mega session so that you can cover everything and you can revise everything, and let's see that how much you remember from the exam perspective. So good evening everyone, welcome to the session, and let's start with the session. Let's start with the first question, but before that, do subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you continue getting these sessions, as well as join our Telegram channel for the PDF of this session. Okay, now the PDF of the session will be in the Telegram channel, and the link for the Telegram channel is provided in the description box below. So this is the first question that is in front of you. I hope you will be easily able to answer this question. So on a review, it has been decided to enhance the bulk deposit limit for the scheduled primary urban cooperative banks in the tier 3 and tier 4. The single rupee term deposits of rupees dash for the scheduled urban cooperative banks categorized as tier 3 and tier 4 will be enhanced. So what is the limit now? What is the limit for the bulk deposits for the tier 3 and tier 4? So I'm getting the mixed answer. Pratul is saying C, Rohit and Sorish are saying E. So who is right here? So the answer is 1 crore and above. Okay, so the right answer is E here, that before the limit for the bulk deposits were considered the deposits that are happening of 15 lakh and above. Okay, now the bulk deposits are those single rupee deposits that are the single rupee term deposits that are of 1 crore and above. So these are the limit of the bulk deposit, that the bulk deposit means the single rupee term deposit. So bulk deposit means the single rupee term deposit of rupees 1 crore and above for the category tier 3 and tier 4. But for the category tier 1 and tier 2, the bulk deposits means that the deposits of 15 lakh and above. Okay, so remember the limits and the tiers. You know that how the urban cooperative banks are divided in the different tiers based on their deposit size. So the highest deposit size is with the tier 4. Now coming to the next question, try to answer this question, that RBI issued the revised instructions for the inoperative accounts or the unclaimed deposits. So now you have to tell me the definition of inoperative account. So a savings or current account shall be treated as inoperative if there are no customer induced transactions in the account for a period of over how many years? So yes, the answer is 2 years. So absolutely correct. So remember that the definition has been clarified, has been given in the RBI website in the notification itself that we have discussed, that the savings account or current account shall be treated as inoperative if they are not being used for at least 2 years. And what is the definition of unclaimed deposits? That are not claimed for 10 years. Okay, so that is the idea. Now the next question is regarding the guidelines on the CPs and the NCDs. So now, as per the guidelines for the commercial papers and the non-convertible debentures, there were the guidelines that has been released by the Reserve Bank of India. The master direction has been released by the Reserve Bank of India, and as per the recent master direction, you have to tell me that which of the following statement is correct here. Okay, is incorrect, not correct but incorrect. So the answer, I am getting the mixed answer. Some are saying B, some are saying A. Okay, so Sorish, Nitya and Rohit, Pratul are saying A. Let's see that CPs and NCDs shall be issued in minimum denomination of how much? 5 lakh and in multiple of 5 lakh thereafter. Okay, the tenure of the NCD, that is the non-convertible debentures, shall not be less than 90 days or more than 1 year. So that's why this is also wrong. All the residents are eligible to invest in the commercial papers and NCDs. So that is correct. So first and second statements are incorrect, and that's why the answer is A here. So absolutely correct everyone. Very good. Next is, so we have discussed everything about the CPs, about this master direction, about the NCDs in the session that I had taken. See, this January revision session has already happened, in which we have discussed each and every question, each and every notification, press release of January very in depth. So you can see that session, but this is a rapid fire, so I'm not going to stuck on any of the notification. Okay, so now coming to the next question. As per the master direction, the Reserve Bank of India commercial paper and non-convertible debentures, you have to tell me that the total subscription by all individuals, including the Hindu undivided families, in any primary issuance of the CPs or NCDs shall not exceed how much of the total amount issued. So here I am getting the answer C. Is it correct? So yes, that is absolutely correct. That is 25%. So this is the idea that the CPs and NCDs, their primary issuance, that is the issuance for the first time in the market, the total subscription by all the individuals, including the Hindu undivided families, in any primary issuance shall not exceed 25% of the total amount issued. So that is the idea. Okay. So this is the main idea here. Next question is again on the same master direction, so that we are covering it holistically through the questions now. So the minimum credit rating assigned by a credit rating agency for the issuance of the CPs and NCDs shall be how much, or what should be the minimum credit rating for the issuance of CPs and NCDs as per the rating symbol? You have to tell me. So I'm getting the answer D. Is it correct? Absolutely correct, and everyone is giving the right answer, so good to see. So yes, the answer is D. That is, the minimum credit rating of the A3 is required for issuing the CPs and the NCDs. Okay, so in the primary market they are issued, then they are also traded in the secondary market. Okay, so that you have to remember. Now coming to the next question, that the CPs now buyback. If buyback has to happen, that the company wants to buy back its commercial papers, or the company wants to buy back its non-convertible debentures. So the buyback can happen within how many days? For the CPs, the buyback can be made only after how many days? And for the NCDs, the buyback can be made only after how many days? So yes, the correct answer is, for the CPs it is 7 days, and for the NCDs it is 90 days. What is the minimum tenure? What is the minimum tenure of CDs? And what is the minimum tenure of CPs, and what is the minimum tenure of NCDs, and what is the maximum tenure of CDs, and what is the maximum tenure of NCDs as per these directions? Anyone can tell me? What is the minimum tenure of? Yes, the CP, that is the commercial paper, the minimum tenure is 7 days, and for the NCDs the minimum tenure is 90 days, and that's why the buyback can only happen after they have completed their minimum tenure, and that's why the buyback by the company can happen for the CPs after it has completed 7 days, and for the NCDs after it has completed 90 days. The maximum is 1 year for both the CPs and NCDs. Okay, so this is the idea. So we have discussed the major point for the CPs, commercial paper, NCDs. There are the guidelines that has been released by the Reserve Bank of India. Now coming to the second news article, or the second notification, we can say that the report of the working group has been released by the RBI on the state government guarantees. The state government is giving the guarantees for the public sector undertakings and such. So the guarantees, there is the recommendations that have been given in regards to the guarantees. Now you have to tell me that what is the limit that has been recommended. So here I am getting the answer C. Yes, 5% and 0.5%. That is, the state governments may consider fixing a ceiling for the extra guarantees or incremental guarantees that they are issuing during a year at 5% of revenue receipts or 0.5% of the gross state domestic product, whichever is less. Okay, so this is the correct answer. Moving forward with the, so this is the highlights that you can read. I have taken a complete session on this state guarantee report. Okay, so you can read this, but the highlights are the most important. Okay, then next question is on the authorized dealers. They shall classify the users as retail or non-retail users for the purpose of offering the foreign exchange derivative contracts or foreign currency interest rate derivative contracts. So there are the derivative contracts such as the options, the futures. So they are being offered to the retail or non-retail users. So first they have to be classified, the retail users, the non-retail users, and the residence users with minimum net worth of dash or minimum turnover of dash as per the latest audited financial statements shall be eligible to be classified as non-retail users. That you have to tell me. So I'm getting the answer D. So absolutely correct. Good to see that you are able to tell all the answers correctly. That means you remember the notifications very clearly. So yes, 500 crores for the 500 crores, that is the minimum net worth, or 1000 crores, that is the minimum turnover, then these residents will be considered the non-retail users. Okay, so the D is the right answer here. Okay, so this is, if you want to have the derivative contracts for the foreign exchange, then you need to, then for that there is the difference between the non-retail users and the retail users. So there is some difference that is present, and these derivative contracts are for the hedging purposes. That means for reducing your risk. If you have the risk of foreign exchange, then you are taking these derivative contracts to reduce your risk. Okay, so next question is in regards to these derivative contracts. There are multiple kind of options, the future contracts that are being released in the foreign exchange. So you have to tell me that this are being released to the persons resident in India and persons resident outside India with tenure up to how many months. So try to give the right answer of this question. So I'm getting the right answer. Every time I get the right answer from all of you, I'm so happy to see that you are preparing well and you are prepared for the examination. Good to see. So that is 12 months. That is correct answer. D is the correct answer here. So tenure up to 12 months. So these have the tenure up to 12 months. Okay. Now coming to the next question, that the Reserve Bank of India has released the digital payment index for the September 2023 in January 2024. So you have to tell that which is the base of calculating the RBI DPI. That is, which is the base of calculating the Reserve Bank of India digital payment index. I'm getting the answer A, and that is absolutely correct. Okay, so yes, March 2018 is the base year to capture the extent of digitization that has happened of the payments across the country, that how many payments have become digitized. So for that, if you want to see the digital payment index, for that there is the base year, that is March 2018. Okay, so it is absolutely correct. So the next question is a little tricky one. I hope you will be able to answer this question. So here you have to tell that the RBI DPI comprises of 5 broad parameters. Now on the basis of the highest to lowest, you have to arrange them. You have to arrange them on the basis of the highest to lowest weightage. So if you are able to answer this, that means you are very well aware about the Reserve Bank of India digital payment index. So try to answer this. Okay, I am getting the answer D, and you are very quick. Good to see. So this is the rapid fire and you are absolutely correct. So can you tell me the highest weightage? What is the highest weightage? And the highest weightage you have given. So that is with the payment performance. But what is the percentage? 45%. Very good. Then the payment enablers have 25% weightage. Payment infrastructure supply side has 15% weightage. Payment infrastructure demand side has 10% of the weightage. And consumer centricity has the lowest weightage, that is 5%. Yes, highest weightage is with the payment performance. Okay, so these are the 5 broad parameters of the Reserve Bank of India digital payment index, and they have the weightage. The highest weightage is with the payment performance. Okay, so the answer was E. Now coming to the next question, that is regarding the, see what happens that the NBFC is divided in between 4 layers. That is the base layer, the middle layer, the upper layer and the top layer. So now the NBFCs that are in the upper layer, they have the large exposure framework, that they are making some large exposures to one entity. They are giving loans, high loans to a single entity. So there are the limits of the large exposure. For the NBFC middle layer and for the NBFC base layer, for these NBFC, there is the criteria of credit concentration, that they are concentrating their credit to one entity or a group of entities, so they have to not do so. There are also the limits that are in the credit concentration. So now there are the norms that have been released by the Reserve Bank of India saying that there should be some same guidelines that should be provided for the NBFC upper layer and NBFC middle layer and base layer when it comes to calculating their exposure. Okay, yes, for the NBFC upper layer, the large exposure framework is there. For the NBFC middle and base layer, there is the credit concentration norms that are present. Okay, that they are concentrating their credit with the one entity or group of entities, but they should have some similarity when we are calculating the exposures. So in this case, in order to ensure uniformity and consistency in computation of concentration norms among NBFCs, a review has been done by the Reserve Bank of India. As per the review, Dash shall put in place an internal board approved policy for credit or investment concentration limits for both single borrower or party of borrowers. So first of all, credit concentration, this term is used for NBFC middle layer and base layer. For the upper layer, the term that is used is large exposure framework. Okay, so that means out of these two, the NBFC should be there, and it is the NBFC base layer that shall put in place the board approved policy. So here the answer is D, absolutely correct. So these guidelines have been released. Okay, the guidelines on large exposure framework, the large exposure framework for the upper layer is there, and for NBFC base layer and middle layer, there is the credit or investment concentration norms. Now to bring some uniformity in calculating the concentration norms or calculating the exposures, there is the guidelines that has been brought. Okay, so now try to answer this question that the credit risk can be transferred. Let's say that the state government has given the guarantee. So NBFC has given the loan to XYZ company. Now this XYZ company is very risky, but the state government is giving the guarantee for the XYZ company that if this company is not able to return the loan, I will return the loan. So in this case, what is happening, that the exposure has been transferred to the state government. So these are the transfer instruments, then they will not be considered under the credit concentration because the risk has already been transferred. So the guidelines that are correct are, okay, so central government guaranteed claims which attract 0% risk weight for capital computation. So central government guarantees claims, they attract 0% of risk weight. That means there is no risk weight that is attached. All the loan that you are giving, and on that loan, if the central government has given the guarantee, then you have no risk that is present. Okay, state government guaranteed claims which attract 20% of the risk weight for capital computation, then they will be considered as the credit risk transfer instrument, as well as the guarantees issued under the different schemes that are mentioned here. In that also they will be considered the credit risk transfer instruments. So here the first and third are correct. So that's why the answer is D, because you had to tell me the credit risk transfer instruments. Okay, so these are the red is the changes that has happened, and that's why you can see that these are the credit risk transfer instruments. Okay, now for the upper layer already had the credit risk transfer instruments, but this last point has been added in the upper layer so that you can see the middle layer, the base layer also follows the same norms, and the upper layer also follows the same norms. So for the credit transfer instruments, the norms have been uniformed, have been brought in the uniformity. Okay, now next question, try to answer this question. I am getting a query. Okay, so the basic idea is that why we are doing the Jan plus Feb notification is that 6 to 8 months. This is what we say, that try to do the 5 to 6 months are most important, and then the last 2 months, if you have the time, you can cover it. Even if you are covering these Jan Feb months through the revision sessions, that is also fine, because in the revision session I have tried to cover all the important notifications. Okay, so if you do not want to cover the Jan and Feb, going through each and every notification, going through each and every RBI press release, so just see the Jan revision session, that is of 1 hour. So in 1 hour you can cover everything. In the Feb 1 hour session, revision session, you can cover everything. Then you can revise through the Jan plus Feb plus March revision session. Okay, so this is for your holistic preparation. Of course, if you want to focus on the from April onwards or from March onwards, you can do so, but I will suggest at least watch the revision sessions of Jan and Feb so that no question is missed from your end that you could have covered. Okay, so RBI released guidelines regarding appointment or reappointment of statutory auditors of state cooperative banks and central cooperative banks. As per the guidelines, an audit firm can concurrently simultaneously take up the statutory audit of a maximum of 5, including not more than one state cooperative bank in a year. So that is C is the right answer. Everyone has given the right answer. Good to see. Okay, so the statutory for the auditors, there is the norms that have been released, and for the statutory auditors, the norms have been released, and here you can see that the statutory auditors are audit firms can concurrently take up statutory audit of maximum of 5 banks, including not more than one state cooperative bank in a year. Now next question is this. Try to answer this question. So here, as per the recently issued guidelines, you have to tell that an auditor or audit firm shall not be eligible for appointment or reappointment in the same bank for 6 years immediately after completing of a part-time tenure or the full tenure or part tenure. Okay, so 6 years is the right answer here. So simply the statutory auditors are appointed for 1 year initially, with annual reappointment for the next 2 years. That means they can work in a they can work as a statutory auditor for a bank for 3 years. That is the full tenure. Let's say that they are not covering their full tenure. They have been released from the bank in 1 year only. Even if they are covering only 1 year of the statutory audit in a particular bank, they will be ineligible for appointment in the same bank as the statutory auditor for the next 6 years. So that is the idea, that in case an auditor or audit firm has conducted an audit even for the part tenure, that is for 1 year, or let's say for 2 years only, or even for the full tenure, that is the 3 years, they will be ineligible for appointment in the same firm for in the same bank for the 6 years. They can take up the statutory audit of other banks. Okay, so that is the idea. Now next question is regarding the urban cooperative banks. So try to answer this question. So the inclusion of urban cooperative banks in the second schedule, there are the guidelines that have been released by the Reserve Bank of India regarding the inclusion of the scheduled urban cooperative banks in the second schedule. Okay, that means they will become the scheduled urban cooperative banks. So in the primary urban cooperative banks outlook that has been recently released by the Reserve Bank of India, we have discussed that there are 51 scheduled urban cooperative banks in our country, and the other urban cooperative banks are non-scheduled. That means in total 14,451. That is 1451 urban cooperative banks in our country are non-scheduled. Only the 51 urban cooperative banks are scheduled. So they get the scheduled status when they are coming under the second schedule of the RBI, of the Reserve Bank of India. Only the licensed tier 3 and tier 4 primary urban cooperative banks are eligible for inclusion in the second schedule. Only they can become the scheduled urban cooperative banks because they are the big urban cooperative banks. Urban cooperative banks need to have a capital to risk weighted asset ratio, that is the CRAR, of at least 3% above the minimum CRAR that has been prescribed for them. Fulfilling the criteria, they must be fulfilling the criteria for financially sound and well managed urban cooperative bank. So here the right answer is, you have to tell the correct statements. So second and third statements are correct. That's why the E is the right answer here. Very good. So now let's continue. Next question is regarding the RBI that has issued the guidelines for on-tap, so issued RBI's amended guidelines for the on-tap licensing of the small finance bank. Which of the following statement is or are correct, that is or are incorrect, that you have to tell me. Okay, so read the statements and try to answer this question. Okay. So here 200 crore minimum capital, correct. Payment bank can apply for conversion into the small finance bank after 5 years of operation. Primary urban cooperative banks can convert into the small finance banks, can transition into the small finance bank after they have increased their initial worth from 100 crores to 200 crores within 5 years. Sorry, they have to increase their initial net worth from 100 crores to 200 crores within 5 years. So that is only second statement is incorrect. That's why B is the right answer here. Okay. So this is the idea. Next is that which of the following statement is correct in regards to the launch of India's RuPay or UPI connectivity with the Mauritius and Sri Lanka. So try to read the statements very, very carefully and then try to answer this. D is not correct. D is incorrect answer here. Kindly revise read the questions very carefully. D is not the answer. A is not the answer, D is the answer. So everyone, all the other people that came later on, they got confused. So here you had to find the correct answer, and actually the second and the third statement is correct. Okay. So yes, so you do not like the pressure that will be in the examination. Do not give in the pressure. You will think that might be the answer is something else. So do not give in the pressure. Read the question very, very carefully. Okay. So with the adoption of RuPay technology, Mauritius becomes the first country outside Asia to issue the cards using the technology to issue the RuPay. That is correct. But these cards can be used only in Mauritius. That is incorrect, because they can be used in India also. They can be used in India also, not only in Mauritius. The MOCUS, okay, sorry, D is incorrect, the E is correct. So the MOCUS card scheme of Mauritius will enable the banks in Mauritius to issue the RuPay cards domestically. So that is correct, that this scheme of Mauritius will enable the banks in Mauritius to issue the RuPay card domestically in their countries. They will be able to issue the RuPay cards. The instant payment system app of Mauritius will facilitate the payments in India. So that is correct, that the Mauritius travelers will be using the instant payment system app of Mauritius that will facilitate the payments in India. Indian RuPay cards are not accepted at ATMs and POS terminals in Mauritius. So that is incorrect. So first and fourth statement are incorrect, and you have to tell the correct statement. So here the answer is E, that is 2 and 3. So whoever has given the E answer, they are correct. So D, A, all those answers are incorrect. Only the E answer is correct here. And remember, read the statements very, very carefully. That's why we bring these kind of questions. Okay. Next question is regarding very easy question. The Financial Literacy Week has happened in February 2024. Now, what is the theme of that Financial Literacy Week? That you have to tell me. Okay, so try to answer this question. So the February 2024, the Financial Literacy Week that has completed, the theme of this Financial Literacy Week was make a right start, become financially smart. So absolutely correct, everyone. So the right answer is E here, that is the theme is make a right start, become financially smart. So next question is that the terms of reference have been signed and exchanged in between the Reserve Bank of India and which country, or which the monetary authority of which country. So that you have to tell me. So here the right answer is Nepal Rashtra Bank. So recently RBI and Nepal Rashtra Bank, they have signed the terms of reference for integration of their fast payment systems. Okay, that is the NPI, the National Payment like UPI, the Unified Payment Interface of India, and the National Payment Interface of Nepal. So National Payment Interface of Nepal and the UPI, that is the Unified Payment Interface of India, they have been the terms of reference have been signed for the integration of these two fast payment system of the countries. Okay. Yes. Next question is, try to answer this question now. So in order to create a single reference for all supervisory returns and to harmonize the timelines for filing the returns. So there are different regulated entities of the Reserve Bank of India, or there are different supervised entities under Reserve Bank of India. They all have to file the supervisory returns. So to harmonize the rules and regulations, there is the master direction that has been released, but this is not applied to which of the following. So here I am getting the answer D, and that is absolutely correct. So these directions apply to all the commercial banks excluding the regional rural banks. It also applies to all the urban cooperative banks, all the India financial institutions, all non-banking financial companies excluding the housing finance companies, and it is also applied to all the asset reconstruction companies. So it applies to all the entities other than the regional rural banks and the housing finance companies, just them. Okay, so the master action has been released for the supervisory returns, the norms to be same, the norms to be uniformed for the supervisory returns by the supervised entity. Now next question is in regards to enabling framework for regulatory sandbox. So try to answer this. So here I am getting the answer D. Let's see that it is correct or not. Which of the following is or are correct in regards to enabling framework? For regulatory sandbox. So timelines of various stages. So it is from 7 months, it has been increased to 9 months. So this is incorrect. The entity shall have a minimum net worth of rupees 10 lakh if they want to enter into the regulatory sandbox. The entity whose application for participation is rejected, they will be able to reapply after the cooling period of 6 months. So second and third statements are correct. Only the first statement is incorrect, and that's why C is the answer, because the second and third statements are correct. Okay. So this is the enabling framework for regulatory sandbox. Coming to the next question in regards to the same framework, for the same framework, which entity or which department of the Reserve Bank of India undertake the overall do the overall guidance for the regulatory sandbox? So it is overseen, the whole process, the end-to-end process of the sandbox, of the regulatory sandbox, is overseen by the fintech department. That is absolutely correct. So this is the complete guideline for the regulatory sandbox. So now the next question in regards to that, the Indian banks that have the branches in the IFSC, they will be able to work as the trading member or the trading and clearing member in the IFSC for the IIBX. That is the so they can work for the trading member or trading and clearing member for the IIBX. So now you have to tell me that what is the answer here, that the risk weight will be what? So here I am getting the answer 110, that is correct. So the Indian banks that have the branches in the IFSC, these branches in the IFSC can work as the trading member or trading cum clearing member in the IIBX, that is the India International Bullion Exchange. So the risk weight will be 110%, or we can say that all the client trades placed on the exchange shall be against the 110% of the advance paying of the funds. That is, if the buy order is there, then 110% of the funds has to be taken from the client. So here the answer is 110%. Okay, so we have discussed the whole news article, we have discussed the whole article very clearly in the revision session also, we revised it very thoroughly. So now coming to the next question from the same guideline, that if the special category clients, if the entity wants to become the special category clients, what are the norms that they have to follow or what they will be doing? So first of all, as per the existing foreign trade policy, the Reserve Bank grants annual import authorization to banks for import of gold or silver. That is correct. Banks will with import authorization in addition to the consignment model in domestic tariff area. So if they have the authorization to to import the gold, then they can work as special category clients for the IIBX also. as special category clients, banks are permitted to execute only the buy, because they can only buy the gold, they cannot sell the gold. So they can only execute the buy trade. That's why here the answer is C, that is first and second statements are correct. The third statement is incorrect. Okay, so that is the answer here. So I hope this is clear. Now coming to the next question, considering the crucial role of the NEDs, that is the non-executive directors, there is the increase in the maximum salary, we can say the maximum payment limit has been increased from what amount to what amount, that you have to tell me. Okay, so here I am getting the answer C, and that is absolutely correct. Before the amount was 20 lakh per annum, now the amount has been increased to 30 lakh per annum. So seeing the important role of the non-executive directors, the maximum amount has been raised from 20 lakh per annum to 30 lakh per annum. This much of the maximum can be given to the non-executive directors. Okay, now coming to the next question, that is public transport systems across the country cater to a multitude of commuters on a daily basis. So for the commuters, for the travelers, there is the guidelines that has been released, that is there will be PPIs, the prepaid payment instruments that will be released specially for the commuters, and the amount outstanding in such PPIs, in such prepaid payment instrument, shall not exceed rupees 3000. Very good everyone. Whoever has given the right answer, you can give 1 marks for each of the right answers that you are giving. Okay, so here this is the right answer. So this is the norm for the PPIs that will be released for the commuters. Now coming to the next question, that is in regards to the Bharat bill payment system. So you have to tell me that as per the directions, the NPCI Bharat bill pay limited is the authorized dash in the Bharat bill payment system. In the BPPS system, the NPCI Bharat bill payment limited is what? So it is the Bharat bill payment central unit. That is absolutely correct. Operating units are the biller operating units and the consumer operating units. Then under the biller operating units, there are the biller aggregators that can help the biller operating unit. Under the consumer operating unit, under the customer operating unit, there are the agent institutions that can help the customer operating units. Okay, so here the NPCI Bharat Bill Payment Limited is actually the authorized Bharat Bill Payment Central Unit. Okay, so the next question is in regards to which of the following statement is incorrect in regards to the retail direct scheme, that you have to tell me. So here I am getting the answer B. Let's see, retail direct scheme is a one-stop solution to facilitate the investment in the government securities by the individual investors. So that is absolutely correct. The scheme is only available for the resident individuals. No, it is also available for the non-resident individuals. Under the scheme, individual retail investors can open a gilt securities accounts, retail direct gilt account with the RBI. So that is correct, that the retail gilt account can be opened for the purchase of the government securities and for the selling of the government securities also. Retail direct account involves minimum charges, so that is incorrect. So second and third statements are correct, and you have to find the incorrect statements. So first and fourth statements are the second and fourth statement are incorrect. So that's why the answer is B here, because the second statement is incorrect and the fourth statement is incorrect. The scheme is also available for the non-residents as well as for the resident individuals. Non-resident individuals as well as the resident individuals can avail the retail direct scheme. Okay. So now coming to the next question. So this was the question here, because what has happened that the Clearing Corporation of India has become the part of the account aggregator, has become the financial information provider in the account aggregator, so that the Clearing Corporation of India can provide the information if the customers demand. The Clearing Corporation of India can provide the information regarding the customer to the financial information users. With the permission of the customers, the data can be shared if for the retail direct scheme. for the retail direct scheme. So if you have any of the government securities, you want to share that data with the asset management company through the account aggregator, you can share all the data through this Clearing Corporation of India Limited. Through this, you can share all the data regarding the government securities that you hold. Okay. Now coming to the next question, that there was the amount that was additionally provided to the, was additionally made provision for the primary dealers. So you have to tell that what is that amount. So based on the assessment of the prevailing and evolving liquidity conditions, the Reserve Bank of India decided to provide additional aggregate amount of dash crore that will be made available to the standalone primary dealers. So what is that amount under the standing liquidity facility? So the answer is 5,000 crores. That is absolutely correct. So we had discussed everything about who are the primary dealers, what is the standing liquidity facility that is provided, and everything we have already discussed in the previous session. Okay. So standing liquidity facility is a collateralized liquidity facility that is provided by the RBI to the stand-alone primary dealers. So this is the liquidity facility that is provided to the primary dealers, and primary dealers, they are the entities which function as market makers in the government securities. They work as the seller for the buyer and buyer for the seller in the market. Now coming to the next question, that the MTSs, for the reporting of the MTSs before the SBRL or XRBL was used, and now the CIMS will be used for the reporting of the data for the MTSs. What is this MTSs? This is a scheme. This is a money transfer service scheme through which the NRIs, the non-resident Indians, can send the money to India, can remit the money to the India for their relatives and for their traveling purposes. Okay. So what is the limit here? The limit is US dollars 2,500. Okay. So the answer is D here. So we had discussed about the MTSs. This is a money transfer service scheme. This is a way of transferring the personal remittances from abroad to beneficiaries in India. For your traveling purposes also, you can send the money to India, but the limit is 2,500. Okay. So now before the XBRL was being used for the reporting of the data of the MTSs. Now the CIMS will be used for the reporting of the data. Okay. The next question is regarding the card issuers. So try to answer this question. As per the directions released by the Reserve Bank of India for the card issuers, the card issuer shall not enter into any arrangement or agreement with the card network. So simply the card issuers were coming into the agreement with the card networks, and the card issuers were only providing you the Visa cards, let's say, or only the RuPay cards. What if you want to have the option? What if you do not want a Visa card? What if you want the RuPay cards? What if you want to have the RuPay card network? So that was not the choice that was given to you. So to have more of the choices, to give the customers more of the choices, it has been said that the card issuers cannot come into the binding agreement with the card networks. Okay. So the directions of the RBI shall not be applicable to the credit card issuers with number of active cards that is being 10 lakh or less in number. So that is for these kind of card issuers, active credit card issuers, the RBI direction will not be eligible. Okay. So that is the basic idea. That is for these are the card networks, and to provide you the choice of the card networks, this is the master direction that has been released. This is the direction that has been released, but this is not applicable on the card issuers, the credit card issuers that are having the active card issued by them being 10 lakh or less in number. Okay. So now the next question is in regards to the progress that has happened in the NEFT and RTGS. So try to answer this question, and remember very clearly that this is the rapid fire session that we are doing. So I'm not explaining the things here because we have to cover everything, because I want you to have only the limited time to answer the questions. If you want to understand everything, you can see the January session, the February session, the March session. That's why we have taken it separately, so that in the separate Jan revision session, you can cover everything in depth. I have gone very much in depth in those sessions. This is the rapid fire round. Okay. So now important landmark was reached in the journey of these systems of NEFT and RTGS. NEFT and RTGS function on a 24/7 365 basis from December 2019 and December 2020 respectively. So this is correct. During the previous 10 years in volume, the NEFT has grown by not 500% and the RTGS. So simply the data is that the NEFT and the RTGS, like the NEFT has grown by 700% in the volume and the RTGS has grown by 200% in volume. The NEFT has grown by 670% in the value and the RTGS has grown by 104% in value. So here it should be 670%, sorry, and it should be 700%. Okay, so these two statements are actually incorrect. That's why the answer is you have to find the incorrect statement. So the second and third statements are incorrect. So answer is B here. Yes, very good. So in volume, the NEFT has the percentage 700 and has grown by 700%. RTGS has grown by 200%. In value, the NEFT has grown by 670% and the RTGS has grown by 104%. Okay. So you can use these data points in the descriptive answer writing. For the descriptive especially, these points are very, very important. Now the next question is in regards to the master direction for the credit card and debit card. So try to answer this question. So, for the purpose of card holders' convenience, card transaction related data is not displayed in the CBP's platform with robust, for the card transaction related data protection, the card issuers, they can send the data in the encrypted form and display it in the CBP's platform. So, in the CBP is what? It is the co-branded partner that is branding the cards, okay, that is promoting the cards, marketing the cards. So for the card co-branding partners platform, the data will be sent in a encrypted form so that it is only seen by the card holders. So that's why the E statement is incorrect. If the complainant wants to raise the complaint, that has to be resolved within 30 days. If more than 30 days, like if the 30 days mark is being crossed, then the complaint will go to the Ombudsman. Like the complaint can be raised with the Ombudsman under the Ombudsman, RBI Ombudsman. Instructions related to credit cards shall apply to all the credit card issuers such as the banks and the NBFCs. No card issuer shall dispatch a card to a customer unsolicited, and the information that is displayed through the co-branded partners platform shall be only visible to the card holders and should not be visible, should not be accessed, should not be stored by the co-branded partner. That is the basic idea. So here the statement is incorrect because here it is written that it will be visible to the co-branded partner. That cannot be possible. Okay, so simply the co-branded partners are for the marketing purposes. They should not be shown the data of the customer. So the basic idea is that if the customer wants to access the information through the co-branded partner, that data is sent in an encrypted form so that only the customer can see the data. So here the E is the right answer because you had to find the incorrect statement. Okay. So this is the whole article that we have already discussed. Now the next question is, RBI has recently amended the master direction for the credit card and debit card. Try to give the right answer of this question. So as per the directions, failure on the part of the card issuers to complete the process of closure within how many days? Within 7 days, 7 working days shall result in a penalty of 500 per calendar day. So if you want to close your card and that is not closed within 7 days, so after that on per calendar day, you will get the money from the bank, that is 500 rupees. That is a penalty on the bank that why they have not closed the credit card or the debit card when you have already demanded to close the card and that has not been closed within 7 working days. So that is the basic idea. Okay. Now the next question is in regards to the MOU. So MOU has been signed between the Reserve Bank of India and Dash for the local currencies to be used for the cross-border transactions, for the current account transactions and the permissible capital account transactions. Okay, so the Reserve Bank of India and which central bank, which monetary authority has signed this MOU, that you have to tell me. So yes, that is RBI and the Bank Indonesia have signed a MOU in regards to using the local currencies for the cross-border transactions. Okay, so now coming to the next question, that is in regards to the ways and means advances, that is a short-term loan that the government can take from the Reserve Bank of India. Now you have to tell me that the Reserve Bank of India may trigger fresh flotation of the government securities or the market loans when the Government of India utilizes, yes, 75% of the WMA limit. So that is the idea. So this is the whole news article that we have discussed clearly, that WMA is the short term loan that is taken by the Government of India from the RBI, and the limit of the loan is decided by the Reserve Bank of India in consultation with the Government of India, and the rate on the loan is the repo rate, and if the Government of India is doing the overdraft, then the rate is on the overdraft, the rate will be 2% above the repo rate. Now coming to the next question, that is on the self-regulatory organizations. Try to read the question very clearly. Okay, so first of all, SROs are the self-regulatory organizations. So the Reserve Bank of India has released the directions for the self-regulatory organizations that can be established in the banking sector, in the NBFC sector, in the fintech sector. So these self-regulatory organizations will be established in the banking sector. Let's say 2, 4, 8 self-regulatory organizations are established that are connecting the ideas of the bank with the RBI, and they are the link between the entities and the RBI. Okay, so the minimum membership that may be prescribed by the RBI shall be attained ideally at the time of sending the application to become the SRO, but if the minimum application is not present at that time, so that has to be achieved within 2 years, because the SRO should have some minimum members to represent the sector clearly. So if the SRO is in the fintech sector, so at least the minimum members should be there in the SRO, so the SRO, the self-regulatory organization, can represent the fintech sector. Let's say for the poor people, there should be like minimum members that are connected with the leader, so that the leader can represent the ideas, the demands of the poor people. Similarly, for the sectors also, the minimum members should be there in the SRO, so they can represent, the SRO can represent the ideas to the RBI for the whole of the sector. The applicant of the SRO shall be a not-for-profit organization that is set up as the Section 8 company under the Companies Act of 2013. The shareholding of the SRO should be sufficiently diversified, and no entity shall hold 10% or more of the paid up capital in the SRO. So that's why second and third statements are incorrect. Only the first statement is correct. So here the right answer is 1 only. So I hope you all got the right answer here. So we have discussed about the SROs. The responsibilities of the SRO is to connect the RBI with the sector, with the ideas that the sector has, the banking, the demands of the sector and such. Okay. So now coming to the next question, try to read the statement and try to answer it. So, okay, 39B, that is absolutely correct. So, sorry, Rohit, they have given the, like, I'm seeing that they are the ones that are giving the answers very fast. So, have the competitive spirit in yourself and try to read the questions very fast, try to answer the questions very fast, because the mistakes that you are making right now, you will learn from those mistakes. So, try to be a little faster in the reading of the questions, okay? But do again, being fast and being correct are two things that you have to do simultaneously. Being fast and making the mistakes, that is not worth it, right? So have the idea that you have to become faster but more accurate also. So practice a lot, okay? So here the answer is B only. That is, the Reserve Bank of India has taken over the board members of the Abhyuday Cooperative Bank. So here the Reserve Bank of India dated November 2023 had announced the supersession of the board of directors of Abhyuday Cooperative Bank for a period of 12 months. So that is the idea here. Okay. So the B is the answer here. So the board of directors was replaced by the Reserve Bank of India, and the committee, the administrator was chosen, that was Sri Satya Prakash Pathak, to help the Satya Prakash Pathak to do the functioning. There was the committee of advisors that were hired. There were three members in the committee of advisors. One of them was Sri Mahendra, who has resigned his post, and that's why Sri Devendra has been chosen in his post. That is the basic idea. Now try to answer this question. The annual report has been released for the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme. So let's see that you have the clarity about the Integrated Ombudsman Scheme or not. So here, yes, the answer that is here is E. E is the incorrect statement because the Central Receipt and Processing Center is established in Chandigarh. So the Reserve Bank of India Integrated Ombudsman Scheme, it has integrated the three major ombudsman schemes of the Reserve Bank of India. That is the Ombudsman Scheme of the banking sector, Ombudsman Scheme of NBFCs, Ombudsman Scheme for digital transactions. These have been integrated into the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme. The schemes adopt one nation, one ombudsman approach, so that there is no jurisdictional division that is present. So the ombudsman scheme is jurisdictional neutral. Okay. The scheme also includes under its ambit the non-scheduled primary urban cooperative banks with a deposit size of rupees 50 crore and above. With the experience gained ensuing the launch and implementation of the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme, the credit information companies are also brought under the ambit of this scheme. And the CRPC, that is the Centralized Receipt and Processing Center, it is established in Chandigarh, not in Delhi. That's why this E is the wrong statement. Okay. So this is the complete idea regarding the scheme. So next question. Try to read this question and answer this. So the annual report of the Ombudsman Scheme has been released. So at least the highlights you should be aware about. So try to answer this. So here I'm getting the answer D. Let's see that is it correct or not. So you have to find the correct statements. So first of all, around 85.64% of the total complaints came in the digital mode. So that is correct. So the complaints have seen the increase of not 78%, it is 68%, that is correct. It is nearly 68% of the increase that has been seen in the complaints as compared to the previous year. So yes, second is wrong. So Padmini, very good, correct. Nitya has also given the correct percentage. So next, majority of maintainable complaints were disposed under the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme. They were through the mutual settlement and such. So that is also correct. So first and third statements are correct. That's why D is the right answer here, because you had to find the correct statement. So these are some of the highlights that we have discussed, that you can read, that the digital payment, through the digital modes, the highest percent of complaints have been received, and the increase in the complaints from the previous year is 68.24%. Okay. Next is that all bank groups have improved in regards to their complaint conversion ratio, except which of the bank group. Okay. So the banks, they receive the complaint. First of all, they receive the complaints and then they resolve the complaints. And if they are not able to resolve the complaints, then the complaints are going to the ombudsman. Or if they are not able to resolve the complaints within 30 days, then the complaints goes to the RBI Ombudsman. So all the bank groups such as the foreign banks, the private sector bank group, the public sector bank group, the scheduled payment bank group, they all have improved. Okay, that means their proportion of complaints that is going to the RBI Ombudsman has reduced from this bank group. But For the small finance bank, it has actually increased. Okay, so that's why the D is the right answer here. Okay. Next question is your homework question. Now we have already discussed this question in the March session. This is from your balance of payment data that is released for the 6 months. So I hope you will be easily able to answer this question. Now do tell me in the comment section that how many marks you have got out of the 42 out of 42. How many marks you have got. Okay, and the PDF will be provided to you by tomorrow 12 p.m. The PDF will be provided to you in the Telegram channel, and the link for the Telegram channel is present in the description box below. So now you have to tell me the answer of this question in the comment section, as well as tell me that what session of the 3-month revision session do you want in the next week. Okay, so that you want scheme session, or you want a report session, you want the general current affairs session. So what session you want in the next week, so that also you have to tell me in the comment section. Tell me how much marks you have got. Let us see that how much you remember, how many answers you were able to give correctly. Okay, and remember that in the comments, I know I'm going to get again that ma'am went very fast and the explanation was not there. Let me remind you, this is a rapid fire session and all the explanation has already been provided to you in the separate revision sessions. Okay, so it is not worthwhile to repeat everything, and this was a rapid revision session that is required for you to answer very fast. Still, I provided you some of the points. Okay. So now before going, there is an announcement that we have brought for you the comprehensive guidebook for RBI Grade B, so that through a single guidebook you are able to get the understanding of the examination. The previous year questions are also provided with this guidebook. The syllabus, the pattern of the examination is also provided in this guidebook. So through this guidebook, through this colorful and wonderful guidebook, you can get much of the information regarding the examination, and this is a one solution for your problems. Okay, so you can download this guidebook if you want to have more knowledge about the examination. So thank you very much. Okay, so scheme session, I will pass your demand to Gurkira sir. So he will be taking the scheme session, the 3-month revision session of schemes, and remember that schemes, the more practice you do of the schemes, so that is better. Okay. Yes, and do tell me that how many marks you have got out of 24. Do tell me the answer of the homework question. Okay, so I hope you are getting more than 30 at least. So if you are getting more than 30 also, that is good. That is good. Okay. Thank you so much, Rohit. Means a lot. It also takes a lot of my mind power, the mental efforts. It is correct, because the RBI notifications, they are not in simple language. Like many a times they are very complicated. Even I have to search multiple websites, multiple sites, so that I can provide you the understanding in a clear manner. When you are reading it for your own purpose, maybe it is faster to cover it, but when you are explaining it, it becomes more difficult to explain it, because explaining is something you have to break down everything in the easiest form. So yes, it takes a lot of efforts, and I hope that you are able to understand everything very thoroughly. Okay, so that is the motive of my sessions, that in the Finance 360 I am trying to bring the difficult concepts that we are breaking down. So sometimes the sessions goes long, but I hope you are able to understand everything very clearly. Okay. You are most welcome, Sorish. You are most welcome, Rohit. Thank you so much for your positive comments and for your the positive feedback, because whenever you see such positive comments, you get a new kind of boost and you want to work even harder to break down the concept, so that the students are able to understand everything, right? You're most welcome, Pratul. Thank you for your wonderful comments. So, any query? Yes. So, I will ask Gurkira sir to take the scheme session on the 3 months from January till March. Okay. You're most welcome, Nitya. Thank you for your wonderful comments. I am regularly seeing some of the students commenting and giving the right answer, giving your wonderful words. So thank you very much. I'm really thankful for your comments down in the comment section. It really boosts the morale of the team, of the faculty also, because when we see positive comments, so it gives us the boost that yes, I want to do, I want to work harder. When you get good marks in mocks, so you get happy, right, that okay, I am on the right track. So when the faculties, they get the good comments in the comment section, so they also get the boost in the morale that yes, we are in the right direction and we are leading the students in the right way. Okay, so thank you very much for all your comments, and I hope you enjoyed the session. This was a rapid fire session, so I hope you have enjoyed it. So I'm usually afraid of taking rapid fires because then many of the comments come that the explanation was not there, but you have to understand that the motive of these sessions are to go faster, right? Sovereign gold bond, that is a scheme. For that, the questions will be in the scheme section. Okay, for the sovereign gold bond, the questions will be in the scheme session, or I can take that questions will be taken also in the April sessions, in the May sessions. Okay, that the marketing team knows. I'm not aware about that. Okay, so this is it. I hope that there is no more queries. So let me close the session. Enjoy your evening as well as keep on revising everything, because that is very important, right? Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for attending the session. And do tell me how many marks you have got. I want to see